Well, I got her. I got her up there. You see that? I got it, flopped the paper down. And I screwed in the bracket, pushed up tight. What I should have done was cut the corners off of that plywood up there, just because in a couple areas it's kind of round, you know, on the back side, and it was hitting just barely. I could have made it just a hair smaller. Because see, I tore the paper a little bit right there, and right up in there. Not very much, but see, if the water does come in up through there and down, I want to make sure that it comes on top of the paper, okay, and nowhere else. And so, see, my next piece, when I cut the next piece, I'm going to put paper on it all the way up on the back side of the plywood. Let's say if I cut this piece next, go up there, and it will be all the way on that piece of plywood as I lift it up. And then if it ever does leak from the top down, it's going to come between the new paper and the old paper, and then it's going to come right down on top of the new paper. Or sorry about that. That gets pushed tight. That paper gets pushed tight, and the next paper goes on there and over the top of it, yeah. And then that top paper, if it leaks between that and the stucco, then it comes down to that edge, and then it goes down on top of the next paper. That's behind the next piece of plywood that I put up. And I'm just doubling it just because I've got staples in the way and all kinds of stuff. And which brings me to my next point. See, these screws are for the rail. See right there. And up there. So I've got to take those out. And once I take them out, this is just going to set. I don't think this one's going to be any problem because the weight of it's going to be down there, and it's just going to bob back and forth there. It can't sag because it's hitting the wall, right? So I can just loosen those two up. On the other side, this side over here, I've already taken the bottom one out. But once I take this top one out, this could have a tendency to want to slide down. So what I'll do is I'll measure a block between here and here, and I'll wedge it in there and maybe take some string, wrap it around there so the block doesn't want to move or anything. And that'll at least hold this for when I put that plywood in there. And see, that plywood, it's going to be hard for me to drill a hole in there later because the drill is going to hit that. So what I'm going to do is, before I take those bolts out, like before I take this bolt out, I'm going to measure over from there, and I'm going to measure to the tip of it. Okay, measure from there over to the tip, and then I can take a measurement somewhere, and it could probably be from this piece of wood here, my stair tread, measure from there up to there, let's say. And then I can do the same thing with those other measurements off to the side, and then from the bottom up. Write those measurements down somewhere, take the bolts out, and then after I put this piece of plywood up and get it secured, and I'll use some little brackets. I'll take some little brackets like that, and I'll screw it on from here over to there, and then even maybe from the top down, I don't know, kind of like I did that one. Once I know that's secure, then I can measure And see, I'm not sure how far this piece of plywood I'm going to go. I might even go down beyond this. I might go down into here somewhere. I don't know yet. I've got to figure that out. So whatever I do, I might even have to measure from the ground up or from my platform up. You know, I've got to think about that. But that's going to be my next move. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead, and I've got some nice caulking. And I'm going to caulk up there. And I got it at the store, and I've never seen it before. It's called Extreme Stretch, and it's from DAP. And look at this. It says seals joints up to 3 inches. I have a hard time believing that, but 600% total stretch. Once you put it up there, it stretches. It adheres to virtually any substrate, interior, exterior. And so I'm going to just dab those holes. I'm not going to use my Liquid Nails construction adhesive. I could probably use that in a pinch too, because once that stuff dries, that's pretty good too. But I've got that other caulking, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. And I'm just going to go around where any suspect areas are, especially in that corner where I showed you, and over there. And then I'm going to check up over in here too, and see anything that's questionable that I can reach at this point. I'm going to do. And then after I get some more pieces up in here, I can move those brackets, let's say, and then I can put some where the bracket is. Okay. So, wow. That looks pretty good. All right, onward and upward for my next piece. So here's my next piece right up in there. I measured that. I took the bolts out. I stapled this back. This is going to fold over like that, but all the paper is going to come down. And I made it 48 inches because that's half a sheet of plywood, and that's going down to about here, and I can reach the rest from down below after I put the 2x6s in. Yeah, and I'm going to cut this one down to 48 inches too, because I measured those 2x6s to see how I'm going to get those in, and I can get them in at an angle up in here through this hole here. I've got to take my platform down, and then I can fish them up in there. I was thinking I could do that over on the other side too, but if I cut that piece 48 inches, that's going to come down to about there. And I might be able to get it at an angle up through there, but I wanted to get down far enough so I didn't have to mess with this anymore, you know. And this piece I was going to have, this piece here I was going to have to come down to 48, but then I'm not sure if I can get in here to attach it up there. We'll have to see about that one. I may have to stop that one right up in here, have a little seam right in there. I don't know, I might have to put a chalk line or string or something across there and see if I can shimmy up through there. I'm hoping I can without moving this platform and getting up in there, but that's going to be quite the stretch. I may have to sit down on it and then pull myself up or something, but you know, I want to get everything done in here so that then I can get the 2x6s up in there, and then I have to get back up in there and do some more. I still have to wrap that up there too. I'm just getting going, so I'm going to put this next piece on here, and then this piece is going to go on next after that, I think. We'll see. We'll see. I'm always thinking as I'm going, so I'll show you what that piece looks like before I put it up. Let's go out and take a look at it. Well, here's my piece. I cut it and I want this side facing in, and so see, I've got the paper on it over on that side, and this is going to be the top, so I don't have to have the paper hang over, because remember the top already hangs over to about here. So this paper is going to go up on top of it. And I folded it over, stapled it, then I can gently rip this right here. I don't care if there's a small little rip there. And then I folded up the bottom. And then all I have to do is take those two staples out, and I made some of my little brackets. Yeah, see, you can do all kinds of stuff with that track. 10-foot track, I got it at Home Depot. And in fact, before I go up there, I can screw this one right like that, because as I lift it, once I get it up there, I have to attach it. And then I have to attach the side. But once I get that, I can lower this down and then push it back up, and then I can put a couple of temporary screws in there to hold the bottom, because it's gonna go all the way down to the that stair tread, remember? Now I can put one on the side too and attach it over on the side. And I may have to do that for temporary, you know, so put a couple screws there, and then I can even leave the paper alone, you know, until I get it, because the very top is not very strong and supported. No, actually I guess it is pretty good. So I've got a couple of my brackets, and I went to the hardware store and I got 1/2-inch screws because I don't want the screws to go any further than a 1/2 inch, or else it's going to hit my paper, and I don't want to hit the paper. Plus there's stucco on the other side of that anyways. So I'm all set to put this up. Wow, all this to get this in, working from the inside out. Hey, one step at a time, we can do it. Let's take one more quick look up here. See, that top is supported by that bracket right in the center, and then over on this side I've got it attached and supported off of this 2x6. I got that pushed up all the way. So see, when I put that piece in there, if I screw it up to the top, that should hold it temporarily until I come down further. See, that's not going to sag, because that's not going to sag over there. If anything, it could push down on this side ever so slightly, but I had to wedge that up there to get it up there. And I went ahead and put that caulking. See? Just where those rips were, so that if the water does go to there, then it will go to the outside, like where we want it, okay? Between the paper and that other OSB paneling, plywood. So I've got the paper folded over that way, and it's also going to fold over this way, you know, from there to from the inside corner to the left. And so it's going to be watertight, I believe, when I get done. Okay, I guess I'm ready to put this piece up, and I'm hoping it's going to fit up in there. It's going to be tricky, because I've got to wedge it straight up in here at an angle, and then get it up in there and move out of the way and everything else. And so I set everything up in here, take my nail bag off and all that. Okay, here I go. I screwed that one on there, and then when I raise it up, I'll put screws up in there, and I put this one just sideways so I could hold on to it and lift it up all the way, because there's no way for me to get it once I'm up in there. Different things you got to think of. And you know, this track, like I say, comes in handy.